Welcome and greetings to all. What an incredible way to begin our live stream for this evening. I want to welcome all of you, but I want to acknowledge, of course, the great John Coltrane, whose birth date we celebrated on the 23rd, which was actually yesterday. And how apropos to do a song like Equinox, because we have entered into autumn equinox. Yes. We're getting some type of feedback. Is that a little bit of echo on my side? Okay, wonderful. So anyway, I want to thank all of you that have been able to join us for today. I want to first introduce our illustrious staff, of which I am a part of, and we are all three of us are a part of, but we have uh, Sister Ilham Timmett. Would you like to start off the conversation?
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and welcome with us in our live stream. So happy to be here with our incredible staff, like you said, Ralph. And again, to listen and to enjoy a beautiful music. Thank you for being here, and you are welcome.
Shukran. Juan Cardoso.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Oh, let me say, who also had a birth date
Yes,
2 days ago, right? Yes.
really close to this great genius of our music.
Yeah.
And yeah, today's a day of multiple celebrations, Uh, Also, we are celebrating ASM fifth year,
Yeah.
15th module. And tonight is about remembering and about inviting for the future, because also, and of course, Ralph is going to talk more about it. But on this Thursday, we will start our next module, and we are very excited about this. And it's a great pleasure to be a part of it for all these years, and to be learning so much and exploring so much. And tonight's gonna be like a little uh, taste, a little degustation
C'est ça,
of,
exactly.
of some of the things.
Exactement.
But it's a degustation of the some of the things that we spoke about on these 5 years. Of course, it's a lot, but there's more information here on our YouTube channel. You can watch our other videos on various subjects. And of course, you can join us on Thursday. And yeah, I think now Ralph can talk better about this and invite you all. But thank you all for coming. And I'm very glad to be here doing this.
Obrigado, Juan. Thank you so much. As Juan did say, that Thursday will be our open house, and understand those of you that are joining us tonight, that our open house has always been free to everyone to come in, and it's almost like a smorgasbord or a buffet of different musics that we will be performing and talking about, artists and others who will make um, our open house very interesting for all of you. And I invite all of you that are here tonight to please join us at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for our open house, the ASM open house, our 5th year. Who would ever thought that we would be doing this 5 years later, and our 15th module. And our modules usually last for 6 weeks at a time, and then we take a break and then we start again. So listen, I'm very blessed to be here. I'm very honored to be working with such illustrious individuals as Juan and Ilham, and we want to present to you what we think. And we're going to be talking about different subjects and different things that we have covered during these 5 years. During these 5 years, let me say, we have amassed an incredible archive of music and subjects, and not just music, but painters and poets and topics that have covered the Black arts movement that we have talked about the blues and we've gone all over the continent, the continent of man's birth. We have gone to that, and we will be playing some of that music as well. But we have covered so many different things, and what a wonderful 5 years it's been. Let me say that 5 years ago, there was a pandemic all over the globe, and we weren't sure about I still had a passion, to teach and to learn and do research. And this kind of stopped so many things. It stopped the whole world in its tracks, but, we've been blessed to have this opportunity to do what we've been doing and doing it for 5 years. It's just wonderful. And we could not have done this without our seekers, as we call those that have joined us for our sessions. We call them seekers because we're seekers as well. We're all seeking to gain more knowledge, to learn more things. So yes, we could not do this without those of you that are here tonight and those of you that will be joining us on Thursday. So, and if you have any questions or thoughts, you can put them in the chat, and we will try to address those as we go forth. And I hope you will enjoy this evening as much as we will enjoy presenting it to you. Thank you very much. So, Juan, you're up.
Yeah, and of course, for more information about how to join us on Thursday, you can check our website, and all the information will be there. Yeah, so we'll start actually by remembering some of the stuff that we've done throughout these years with some content that we have on our YouTube channel. So you can all check this later if you want. But some of the videos that were some kind of summary and excerpts of some wonderful sessions that we've had. So I would like to start with this, which is one of the first videos of our channel. And there's a lot of the seekers there. And it's about, of course, John Coltrane and also Eric Dolphy. And this polemic that we don't have to talk so much about, the downbeat thing tonight, but I invite everyone to watch this video also afterwards, because it's about this article on the Downbeat magazine calling the song of John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy anti-jazz. So I just wanted to show a little bit of the introduction of this session, and maybe a little bit of the thoughts of our seekers. Uh, uh, what do you think, Ralph? Drew?
Absolutely. What a one. I'm looking at some faces of people that one person at the bottom is no longer on the planet, and that's our my childhood friend Bob, and I see Harold, and I see Roberta and Trina and Kathleen, and I see Pat Kenny. Wow, wonderful. And who else is that I see? Brother Ade. I can't see who this is up there. Well, no matter. I just want to, these are some of the our seekers that have joined us in some of our past sessions that we've had. Was John Coltrane, or is John Coltrane, a jazz musician? One of the things that we have, points of contention that we have covered for so long is about this term jazz that we grew up with, but some of us have never questioned what it's meant and the meaning of it. During research, I have also gone into a book of quotes by John Coltrane, and he said, I don't subscribe to that term, jazz. He said, I don't like that term. However, he said, this is how they sell us. So it tells you something about the yin and the yang of this word jazz. Many musicians have challenged what that word means and how does it properly represent those great artists that have done it. Many of the great artists that we have heard have rejected that term. And I think it's basically up to the individual to whether they want to embrace it or they want to move on. But according to the article that Juan had mentioned about John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy, it was written in Downbeat magazines, I guess around 1963 or something like that, 62. And what was so strange about it is that they said that they called the critics now, and I use that term loosely. I'm going to think of another term to call these people who put themselves in a position to talk about what our music is. But the so-called critics said, well, John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy are anti-jazz. Well, let me say this. I think that they were handing them a backward compliment, and they did not even realize the compliment that they were giving John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy. And they probably said, we're free from this word jazz that has been, we've been carrying around and for so long. But nonetheless, let us listen to some of the music that you have, Juan. Go ahead. Would anybody like to chime in on the article that was sent out? The article with John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy. And they were asking him, I think John Tyner was the New York critic that was writing about, and you read it, right, Bob?
Leonard Feather, I read it.
And then Leonard Feather chimed in, and they called them anti-jazz. Anti-jazz. Now there was nothing but beauty and love in their music. John Coltrane, a love supreme, a supreme love. So you see what I'm saying? They were all about that.
They didn't have any answers for the music or anything like that.
They didn't know what to make of it. One second, one second. Charles, I did not call your name, and I'm sorry. Listen, Charles is always one of the first people on our session, and Howard. Now I'm starting to see some of the faces of that we had. This had to have been about what, 4 or 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, 2020, the 50th year, because as we started in 2020, now it's 5, but it was 2020. Yeah, but it was actually showing a different side of people before. That's why you did Charles. And he's with us on YouTube as always.
Okay, as always. Yeah, and so it is. Okay, go ahead, continue, Juan. I'm sorry. I don't want to ever leave any of our seekers out, because without our seekers, we would not have been able to continue doing what we do. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Music from the past.
They were living in the past. See, you know what, the same thing, when you have innovative innovative creative artists, you know, which I think, you know, what I tried to do is like pull these innovative creative artists into this art class discussions because they were alienated for being creative, you know, at first, until they figure out they could make a lot of money off of John Coltrane records and Eric Dolphy and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But they were vilified very early on for what they were trying to do. And this was always, this became a pattern, you know, with Charlie Parker. It became a pattern when Miles Davis decided he was going to do Bitches Group and On the Corner, when his electric period. You know, this is what artists went through. John Coltrane, what are you trying to do, John Coltrane? Sheets of sound. You know, it's a very, very, very enlightening and incredible article that I hope we get a chance to get in there deep.
The part of the article that I found was really pushing the envelope was them holding the critics to task and asking them to improve the critics process.
Yes, ma'am.
And having the critics process informed by the artist's words about what they were trying to do would make it so much richer. And they were open and very gracious about how they described that as a possible thing.
Just on that note, just on that note, I was trying to find if Leonard Feather or John Tynan replied. And so far, I haven't done a deep search yet, but I haven't seen any kind of obvious replies on their part or rebuttal. It would have been very interesting to see. But it's also interesting to hear their silence. You know, the thing I was looking for in the article was a couple of words like anti-jazz and, you know, all of that. These guys didn't say anything about that. The whole thing was how much they loved it and how much their love for the music. There was nothing anti or nothing, you know, even the word jazz was not even in there at all.
They didn't even say it. Did you notice that?
Thank you. I'm so glad you did.
You know, you got to be careful about trashing an artist, which then causes the certain parts of the audience, at least, not to even come or not to even listen and form their own opinions. And I think that's really relevant to all music or all art, really.
Art, but, exactly.
You know, it's one thing to say, you know, in my opinion, but when you start saying things like this isn't even music and this isn't, you know,
anti-jazz,
you know, it's anti-jazz, whatever, then it's really not giving the audience a fair shake or the artist a fair shake.
And you know, Thelonious Monk cornered one of the critics in New York like that. And he said, you know, when you write things like this hurts my family. It hurts, you know, and interrupts the way that I can make a living, you know, and they were totally oblivious to how hurtful some of the words that they put out there on these great people, you know, and what, you know, the repercussions of that. You know, well, you know, I'm in Chicago and you know, man, you know, you didn't get a good review on your last, so I'm not going to hire you. Or they said you were late, or they said they didn't understand you, or, you know, something, you know, that kind of thing. And it goes right into, Eric Dolphy said, he interjected that the critic should consult the musician when there is something the critic does not fully understand. Does that make sense?
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
The artist is always ahead.
Always, you know, but you have to talk to the artists and say, what's your philosophy? What are you thinking about? You know, what is this? Tell me, you tell me.
Yeah.
I feel that many times, you know, like, well, I feel that what was going on at the time was what I call that new music, you know, like inventing music or discovering music that had actually been never heard before. by anyone, including the critics. And no one actually knew how to take it. And the critics basically took it upon themselves to be able to instruct us or to the public as to what they were hearing in comparison with what had been heard before. Sometimes they don't understand, what a person's trying to do with their music.
Sure.
And I shouldn't say sometimes, because with jazz, I think that was what was happening many times. People thought Coltrane's music was grotesque.
Without, yeah.
Up until the time that he made something that was familiar to them, like My Favorite Things and things like things of that nature. People could sort of get into Coltrane and what he was doing after he took My Favorite Things and made such a wonderful piece out of that. But that's been happening throughout the years. So I think that the critics, I'm not down on the critics, but I think it's probably not an enviable job. Period.
Listen, okay. The same thing happened with hip hop music. Okay.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Totally terrible. This is not music. It's not that. It's not, all these things. And it's weird how people can put that kind of spin on the music, Not to say that it's all great, but all the music is not great. It's like an expression of the people, you see. My thought.
And I think critics should take responsibility. That's what they're not. They're not. Because they're in a heck of, like you say, they're in a very important position, and it's also like human nature to put those labels on stuff, to put it in a little compartment where they can understand it. You know, they put it over here and label it like that, and that goes back to the whole label of jazz, and they're putting it in that thing.
Yes.
There we go. And you see that nobody brought that word up. Nobody said that in that article. Nobody said, well, Eric Dolphy has said something about, we said, what swing? Well, what do you mean swing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for it's a little long, but
that's great. That's just wonderful, man.
a great
I guess I had more hair then too, huh? Oh, that was wonderful. When you go back, sometimes oftentimes we go back and we listen to things, or we observe things that we had said, or topics that we have covered, and it's just eye-opening of opinions, and that's what makes ASM what it is. Should be aesthetically seeker speaking. Okay, go ahead, Juan.
And it was just a wonderful discussion, and a great part. I think it represents a great part of what we are, as seekers, as people who like to talk about music simply. So I just want to, I think I'm gonna skip or should we play a little bit of Eric Dolphy? Yeah, maybe we should play a little bit of
that would be wonderful. Yeah.
And for parents, okay, the interview. So we're gonna just listen to a little bit of Eric Dolphy, and then an interview with his parents, and they talking about his practice.
He would get up in the morning before he went to school, say about 4:30 or 5, and practice till it's almost time to get his breakfast and leave for school. And he'd hurry home to start practicing again until way late in the evening till we would tell him, you know. And he had a little studio built outside for so afterwards where you could be out there with that.
Did he mostly just practice scales and exercise?
Yes, and tone qualities and things. He'd blow one note for all day long.
I've seen him blow one note on a saxophone for weeks at a time. And I've been out in the yard working, and I'd go in and say, there's no more key in a saxophone but that one. And then he played, then he put on his tape recorder, he'd have it, then he listened to it. He said, that has got to be right.
Yeah, I just wanted to put this video next because I think it represents also what most of the speakers said at this session, you know, about, you know, how the critics were just trying to create some kind of label or box to put the name of their music and not worry about, you know, the musical exploration that they were going through, you know, and to be practicing something so something so thoroughly, you know, with so much dedication and knowing what kind of sound you want to do, you know. And that's why I remember of this session, you know, brother, you know, because you showed these both videos and it was very impactful to me, you know, and that's why I remember this because it shows a lot of how people who are not musicians try to put us in those labels, but there's much less interest in how are we, you know, overcoming ourselves musically all the time, you know.
It also talks, you know, it displays the seriousness of the artist. You know, even at a young age, you know, Eric was after it. He was really trying to play one note. What an incredible task that is, to play one note forever, you know, until you're satisfied, and then you go on to another note. And I know he's inspired me in ways that I can't even explain. You know, I first heard Eric when I was maybe a teenager, and I knew he was doing something that I had never heard before, ever. And I have not heard since. Nobody has ever tried to emulate Eric Dolphy, whether on bass clarinet, whether on alto saxophone or flute. You know, so what a blessing, you know, to hear his parents talk about him and what he was doing at a very early age. He was after it. That's what I'm going to say. He was after something very, very special. That serious artists, serious musicians, whether they're painters or whether they are instrumentalists or vocalists or writers, you know, whatever they were after at that time or during their lifetime, what they're trying to achieve. And that has all that's, you know, I hope that many of the young musicians will not try to emulate what Eric was playing, but to develop their own voice and develop their own approach to the instrument and be inspired by Eric Dolphy and John Coltrane and Yusef and all the you know, the masters of this particular art form that we call autophysiopsychic music. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I also Um, thought about, of course, Dr. Youssef Latif, for tonight, for um, talking about this purpose of making music, and of course to remember a little bit, of some past things we did. But before, should we listen a little bit to Ascension by John Coltrane? What do you think?
Come on with it, man. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Because I think when they did this interview for Downbeat and all this thing was going on, it was kind of just the beginning, for what John Coltrane was doing to his music, And I remember when you played this song in the session from the Modes of the Black Arts Movement, uh, we talked about the relationship of the song with what was going on politically, and vice versa, how the artists were influencing in the politics and vice versa, So I just want to play an excerpt also of this session about the Black Arts Movement and a little bit of Ascension. Just 1 second. All right, here we go.
John Coltrane, as we know, is constantly trying to expand not only his quartet, but he would expand his ensemble to do some really incredible. He was always searching for the next level of evolution in the music and the next level of creativity that he was searching for. When Ascension came out in 1965, it scared everybody. Thus, we shall hear some of Ascension. And if you can show the Vimeo of Bob Thompson's work, which will be shown without any sound, but we will hear John Coltrane. Ascension. Wow.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
music scared people because they had never heard, well, many of the lay people had not heard anything like that ever before. And either it scares you into wanting more, or it scares you into not wanting any of this, because you do not want to step into that area of the unknown. That's what it was, stepping into the area, into the land of the unknown. And this is John Coltrane would take us, as I always like to say, to the door of discovery. And then the door is open, so you have the choice of either going through the door or standing outside the door. Much like when you go, clubs, it kind of brought to mind the clubs that he would play at. And if you couldn't go inside, and you could stand outside the club and hear what was going on, but it was still something that could scare you into wanting more of this. Give me more, or what was it that he was doing? What are the questions? And some people didn't care, and that's okay. I don't think I think he wanted people to listen to what he was doing and appreciate it, because, they always say, everybody loves to be appreciated. So wonderful. Ascension.
Yeah, and for the finale, I think just this little tribute for and of Brother Youssef, and the time that we did this interview on him, and it's just a little bit about his life and the life of Detroit. This is, I think, the first or the second video on our channel, something like that. So it's not, it's kind of rough, but I think it was a very interesting testimony, and a learning for all of us about his thoughts and philosophy and so on.
Wow, him again?
It's weird to watch yourself, I know.
Abdul Latif. And, we go back to, him being a fellow Detroiter. He was very acknowledged in Detroit by the musicians in Detroit. And I think that was because of his personality, his gentleness, and also for his seeking mind in the music that he was doing. And that was going back to the 1950s, and moving forward. This was kind of, this tells you about what was going on underneath in Detroit. And Youssef was a product of all of this, growing up. He went to a school called Sidney Miller High School, that had incredible young musicians. Every school in Detroit, every public school, had music departments and outstanding young musicians. And I think he was at Miller High School with Kenny Burrell. He was at Miller High School, I think, with Milt Jackson was there. All these soon to be outstandingly great musicians were all in school together studying music, and they made their names in this music historically. So yeah, he was what an incredible time for him to come up. And we did a tribute to Youssef in 2012, and it was called A Man of Honor. And he came, and he also invited a guy named Matthew Rucker, who was a guy that had a big band that gave Yusef his first job playing. And there's a picture of Yusef, with playing in this big band. I think he said he was 18 years old or something. How incredible, to get a start like that. And then, he starts playing with so many different people. He gets a call to join Dizzy Gillespie. Also, before that, Yusef's working. He's unloading boats. He's working in the factory, in the chemistry department of these. He's just doing all these things because he had a family.
Yeah.
And he knew the first thing was to support his family.
What a beautiful testimony.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know it's difficult to watch yourself on video, but I just thought about this selection just because it's about the soul of ASM, I guess, which is you, which is all of these people, who are ancestors, and are a great part of what we are doing. So that's it. I'm sorry if it was too long.
That was wonderful, brother. Ilham, sister, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I choose for this evening. I loved our travel when we was in Belize, in Caribbean countries. And there is a song, really, I felt it in my heart and changed many things about my vision of life in that time. That is why I just chose Umalili. Umalili. It's Garifuna. I have some information about. Just a second. Yeah. Umalili, it's collective from Belize. And Umalili means voice, I mean voice, and is a collective of women's. And this unique culture based in the Caribbean coast of Central America. Garifuna tradition blend elements of West African and Native Caribbean heritage, with singers from the Garifuna communities of Belize, Honduras, and Guatemala. More than 50 women of many generations took part in this unparalleled recording. This information are from vomex.com. Very interesting about. And what I will do, I found also the lyrics of the song Nibari. I will send it in the chat in YouTube, then you can follow with it.
Okay. Wow, that was beautiful, Ilham.
I cannot put the lyrics in the chat. I had a little problem, and now I can do it. It will be okay. Then you can find the lyrics in the chat. Yeah. And the second one, the second music I choose for you is a visual. It's evident, it's evident that I talk about Mahmoud, Gnawa music. I choose Mahmoud. I cannot choose music without choosing Gnawa music, and especially Mahmoud. I choose the song we had in our live stream about festivals in Morocco. And the recording was by Boiler Room in Marrakesh. They did this recording, and he was with his son. And and he's always great. Peace to his soul. And I hope that his sons are continuing doing music like he was doing it. I'm sure that they have many things from him and from his music, and there is a lot of musicians in Morocco, in Gnawa music, inspiring by Mahmoud till now. And let's just listen and enjoy Mahmoud. Hamouda. The song is Hamouda.
What does that mean?
Hamouda is a name of a person. Yeah.
Okay. Hamouda.
Yeah. Hamouda, yeah.
Beautiful.
You know, Kakabo, sometimes when you hear, and especially with Mahmoud in that time, when the Kuyu play Kakabo, you feel like you are in forest with the horses, you know, and it's just running, 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 you know. That's it. It's a rhythm in Castagnet. It's a rhythm of horses, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
You
so
are
much.
welcome. You are welcome.
Thank you
And
so
the
much.
last piece is I choose the song of Boubacar Traoré and Ali Farka Touré. The song is Duna Mayelima. And unfortunately, I cannot send the lyrics in the chat. I just tried many times. I think that's because the words there is many. The text is so long that is why it doesn't take it. I will send it to you, and we can send it to everybody who is interested in.
Yes.
And yeah, let's hear Duna Mayelima.
Voilà. Ma réunion ka CD de. I b'a fɔ tan yɛrɛ de. Voilà. Aw fana aw bɛ se wala de lɔ dɛ.
Ne me quitte pas.
Dunama yelema bima ude yelemara. 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 Muso minye ubi mafle na loma ye ni eko ke cheba minye ubi mafle fiyonto ye o na ebi ma ode yele mara mama yele ma bi ma ode yele mara mama yele ma bi ma ode yele mara. Dunama yele ma bima ode yele mara.
Merci, merci.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Obrigado.
You are welcome. Thank you too, and thank
That
you,
was so
Juan.
wonderful, sister. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for
you
those
are welcome. You are welcome. I
Yeah.
love this. I love this travel. You know, when I see the link between Caribbean, when we see the world map, you know, the world map, they are very far.
Yes.
And I feel that music, you know, the first time I heard the Omalili, for me, I was hearing not Gnawa music, but there is something between. There is, the ancestors like this sing about it, you know. We have that in common, and we can feel that in the music, and we can feel that in our skin, in our heart, in our soul, when we are listening to this kind of music. And after Morocco, the North Africa, and we go to Mali. You know, Mali is big history. uh, yeah. Yeah, there is somebody who's talking so really deeply, and he give many information about the history of Mali and Africa. Robin Walker, yeah, we discover this historian, and we love what he's saying about Africa, and the real story. We can see that. You can check in YouTube and see many information about that if you are curious.
You
If
should
you
put
are,
the name in the chat so people will know.
also, I can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Ali Fakaturi, how incredible was that music? It just touches your spirit, touches your soul, which is the purpose, as does the music of Mahmoud Guinea. You know, God bless his soul, you know.
Yeah.
Just that, you know, and I want to say this before we go any further. Yesterday, we have ASM, we have production meetings every Monday, and we talk about what we're going to be doing and what we're trying to accomplish from our sessions. And yesterday, you said, well, you know, rather than do a rerun as on television, we will present music that we want uh, to be heard, that we feel good about. And one of the things that everybody was to pick some music that they felt would be, and also shows you where the places that we have visited the around the world. You said we were in Central America and with the Garifuna, and we were also in Mali. We were in Morocco. We were in New York City with John Coltrane. We were in Philadelphia with John Coltrane. You know, there's so many. What we've done during these 5 years is that we have visited and we have done a lot of discovery of music from all these different places. And we could go on and on and on and still not repeat anything because everybody has their own music that they present. And I just feel honored, you know, to be with both of you to enjoy this music that we have done, you know. So, obrigado again.
you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you too. Yeah.
You know, and when I was thinking about putting the songs that I really liked, and I started off in the rainforest because you know that was some of the most beautiful music that I've ever heard on the planet. And not to say it's better than this or it's better than something else, but this is the music that comes out of the rainforest. And these are people that did not attend the music conservatories. They did not, you know, their culture was their culture, and it was nourished by them being away from all of the commercialization, and they did what was in their hearts, and they did the music that was in their hearts. I would like to to do if you would if you could please play some of the baka, the first one that we had talked about. I could not leave the rainforest for several musical selections. So, bear with me, and I'll give you a cue when to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. It's one of the most beautiful. But let me just take this moment real quick to just ask for you who is watching us until now. If you are here with us, please click the like button, and also remind you that on Thursday we're gonna have our open house 7:30 p.m. on Zoom, and you can have all the information in our websites in the description.
Absolutely. And thank you, Juan. That one of the things that I think that's important, it tells you about, and I hope we have used this platform tonight to invite people to our open house. We want to grow and constantly grow our listeners, our seekers. And this is one of the purpose of doing our live stream tonight. We will do a live stream of some kind every Tuesday at 7:30. But our ASM class, our ASM sessions will be on Thursdays, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be uncovering and discovering and rediscovering the music, the art, the fashion, the activities that were going on in 1981 to 1989. And there were a lot of things going on during this period of time. And we want to bring this to you and present this to you in our ASM. And also, and let me mention that our ASM open house is free to all. But we also will make an announcements for your donations to what we're trying to do on Thursday. You'll see all the information that you need also on our website. And hopefully that you will bring someone with you. We always love inviting new ears to experience what we've been doing for the past 5 years. What a blessing it's been for us to continue on this path. I'm going to say that, it's a blessing to me, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. And our seekers are special.
Yeah. Also, we are lucky.
Yeah. Okay. Do it, Juan.
Badi wote na mova, tayo wote na mwe, tambombo kwe, Galloway.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Which one do I have next? Is that the beautiful lullabies? I fell in love with lullabies from the people of the rainforest, and it also put me on a research mission to understand the beginnings of what we hear. Even before we come into the world, we hear lullabies sung sometimes by our mothers, sometimes by our fathers. But lullabies, and they're so beautiful. And when I heard these lullabies by these people of the rainforest, and I call them some of the original people, it just moved my spirit to hear these lullabies. Let's hear the lullabies and these are short, and then we can get close to our closing time at 9 o'clock. Yeah. Beautiful.
It's hypnotizing,
It's absolutely
what
hypnotizing.
what impresses me the most is how it's synchronizing, what the choir is doing, and this kind of yodeling. Of course, it's not yodel the name, but how they are really synchronizing these. It's crazy. It's
The
wow.
multi-voices that are going all over, and you can pick one voice. You can pick one voice and follow that one voice, and then other voices that are coming in. It's just a tapestry of beauty. That's how I hear it. And it is hypnotizing. It really, really is. One of the things that I enjoyed about doing this music by the small people in the rainforest, and I do not choose to call them by the names that was given to them of pygmy, because they're from areas and regions on the continent. Cameroon, they're from the Babenzele and the Baka and the Aka, the Ituri from the Ituri forest. They're from all these areas that's where they should be respected to be named. Let me say this really quickly too, that there's power in naming, and people should have the objectivity to name themselves, to name who they are and what they do, not to have others to come in and say what they think it is without even consulting the originators of the music. But these women are playing the drums, playing rhythm on water. And I think if you remember when you were just a baby and you were in the bathtub or or a small little bath circle, and you would hit the water and splash the water. And usually you were scolded to not do this because the water would go everywhere, but you were playing rhythm and you didn't know where it came from. But this is a simple example of where some of this music comes from. Yeah. Okay. That's incredible. Yeah. And listen, we're almost to the end of our session. I want to invite all of you that are out there. I don't know, I never know who follows us on our live stream, but I want to invite anybody that has come on tonight. I hope we have reached thousands. I hope we have reached thousands of people this evening. At any rate, Bai Kudude is a Black woman from Zanzibar. And she is just, in one of our sessions, I was looking for people that I had never heard of and doing some music, especially the women that were putting forth music. And she's a Muslim woman, and she was the first woman to perform without a veil on her face. And it tells you something about the restrictions that were on women during this time. Am I correct, Ilhan? Yes? Maybe not. But at any rate, she really moved my spirit when I saw her. Oh,
do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that is right. That is right. Her life was not easy. It was not easy for her, but she was loving music, and she was loving doing concerts, and she has a long life. However, the end was unfortunately sad, because they doesn't allow her anymore after 80 years old. Her family just decide to stop her singing, and that is what I heard about. And she told them that she cannot live anymore without music, and that is what happened to her. Yeah.
She was in her 90s when she was still doing music in the village where she lived.
Yeah.
And also in this video, and it'll be short, but in this video, she will be playing the drum. And even during this time, it was almost forbidden for women to hold the drums between their legs like she did. And I mean, I found this out just by doing some research and reading into her life story. It was fascinating. So let's hear by Kudude. There she is.
Kufanya mipango ukanikimbia, mame bwana twenzetu cheche tulia we. Kufanya mipango ukanikimbia, mame bwana twenzetu kia wakacheche tulia.
can you say? And let me mention this also while doing research on by Kadude. She did a lot of recordings and became a big star in India. In India, but it tells you something about the exchange of cultures. African people studied especially the East African people as well as West African, but they studied the oceans and how the currents, and they studied how currents could take you to other places. So they would leave places like Zanzibar, which is an island, and they could study and they could go to India. And the Indian people also studied the currents so that they could come west. The East Africans would go east. And she was very popular and sold many recordings and did a lot of performances in India. So it just tells you, and also as you say, I don't like to say she was the Khatam of Zanzibar. She was by Kudude of Zanzibar. She had her own identity. She had her own. I wouldn't compare her to anyone else, but who she was. That's just me talking. But I want to thank you all. We've reached. We've done pretty good with our time today with this live stream. And I want to make sure that you all will, I hope this has been a pleasing, you've been pleased with what our offerings for this evening. And again, I want to invite all of you to join us for our ASM, Aesthetically Speaking Music, on Thursday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I know some of our seekers or our listeners are on the West Coast, and they're in other countries, and yeah. So there we go. So we're gonna cut off. Oh, I hear voices. I hear voices.
I think it was Carol's microphone.
Oh, this is a microphone. At any rate, we're gonna close up because we try to keep it as close to 9 o'clock. Ilham is in France, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. After 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just grateful that she stayed awake. She took a nap, and so
it's normal. It's normal. It's my pleasure to be here and to listen to this music and stories about music and singers and lots of knowledge and like Juan said, lots of discovery. For me, it was since 2022, and it will continue, inshallah. And I love that. Thank you so much, both of you, and thank you to the seekers who follow us since many years. And thank you
5 years is a landmark these days. People come in, they do things, and then it goes away. But we've been blessed to continue on our path, and I think that's just wonderful. Thank you, Ilham. Thank you, Juan.
Yeah.
And thank you to all of you that joined us this evening. Like I said, I hope that you have received our offerings, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Juan, you want to say anything else?
Yeah, just how grateful I am as well for all this time for tonight, and looking forward for Thursday now, 26, and we all meet there 7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Standard Time. Yeah. And remember this, the great Sufi poet Rumi said to be sure to don the cloak of gratitude, and I think we do that. And I just
Yes.
want to present that to our listeners as well. Be sure you don or wear the cloak of gratitude.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.